Welcome back to Play on Gamers, the podcast where we stay up way too late. In this case, the oddest freaking hours that we've had so far, talking about video games. I'm here with one of my best friends, Ben Silverman. Ben, how's it going, buddy?
Greetings from the United States.
Yeah. For those who are watching and noticing a different background, I'm actually in Israel right now. We're in a 7 hours difference. It's 6 in the morning for me, and I believe 11, 10. Yeah. 11 for you at night. So typically we do this pretty late. So it's going to be even later for Ben. And somehow I managed to wake up in the middle of the night. And that's why I'm wearing a tank top, because it's too hot to not wear one, to be honest. All right. We have a pretty good show, though. We're going to keep it short this time. But we do have some cool stuff to talk about.
What's the gaming scene like over there?
Actually, pretty strong. Actually, my cousin, who I'm going to ask to come on our podcast eventually, we'll have to do weird hours for that one too.
Mm-hmm.
But he owns a video game company, mobile game, called Match Masters. But it's actually, like, as far as like the mobile game scene, it's very strong. And I would imagine that they do a lot of like third party support through here. You know, like there's no main studios here though.
I feel like a lot of the world is like more mobile focused.
Yeah,
like especially in like African countries, I think they do a lot of mobile gaming.
Yeah, probably because it's easy to enter.
Everyone's got everyone's got phones.
Yeah, and they churn and burn. They churn and burn those things. Actually, before he started his own company, he was working for an Israeli company that was like they were making the games, and their biggest customers were overseas. Like they weren't here in the United States, right? So it's like, or here in Israel, the United States.
Gaming hardware is expensive too. Like places like Brazil and other countries, like 5-6 times retail to get a console. So I guess mobile phones, you just build it for one.
That's a great point. Actually, I was talking to my cousin yesterday where he bought a PS4. He's like, I didn't realize like each game's like $100. You know, and like I don't think about it, but I think in Australia, like that's come up before. Like, it's definitely on IGN. Yeah. But it's not like the games are sick. You know, we complain about $60 games, but for them it's $100 a game.
And you think, just get digital, but the rest of the world doesn't have internet like we have. So in Australia, the internet, like they're capped. Like a lot of places are capped. So you download Call of Duty, which is 150 gigs. That's like 2 months worth of your data cap.
That's a great point. I will say the cell phone service though here in Israel, it costs them $20 a month.
Yeah.
That's it. Max.
It's pretty nice. I mean, you can get that around here, but I mean, I would assume that's standard for that area.
It's actually built into the public policy.
Yeah,
like it's a legislated, which is even crazier. Like you have to have cell phone access here. So,
but for like emergency broadcast.
Yeah,
for like their early warning systems.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, that's a great point. Probably for safety concerns. Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to the first topic. This is actually a topic that you and I are both really excited about. And I guess let's just predicate it by saying that we both pre-ordered this.
We did.
But Valve makes I would say a surprising announcement, but considering where the market is, it's not.
There were some rumors about this a couple months ago. They were talking about this, but everyone thought it was going to be a streaming. So we'll get into it, but everyone thought it was going to be a streaming device only.
Yeah. Right.
I think what it actually is took everyone by surprise.
Well, let's get into it. So Valve announces this the Switch Pro. I love that comment here. Yeah. Valve announces the Steam Deck, which is essentially what we all were hoping the Switch Pro would be to some degree. Even though I don't think Nintendo would ever even create something this powerful necessarily, but they make a very nice device that comes in 3 different tiers. The tiers, was it
64 gig eMMC memory,
and then
256,
and then 512. Yeah, and then the difference, it comes with a carrying case in all 3,
which a lot of people are not talking about, and they should be.
It's a different tier for the carrying case too.
No,
right?
it's all 3.
No, but isn't it? Don't you get like a special one with the most expensive edition?
So you get. With the first one, you get the 64 gig eMMC memory. Mm-hmm. It's slower memory. It's like cell phone memory.
Right.
Like an SD card. The middle tier is a 256 NVMe SSD. You get the carrying case. And then the 512, you get a faster NVMe drive. The carrying case.
How much faster? Was that defined? And sorry, I didn't mean to cut
that
you off.
is the 512.
Yeah.
I would assume it's a PCIe 4X drive as opposed to a PCIe 3X drive.
Okay.
Um,
So probably maybe 20% faster
I
or
don't
something like
think you
that.
would ever notice the difference.
Yeah. But anyway, sorry, go
Yeah,
ahead, finish.
it's like I have Gen 3 PC, or I think I have Gen 3 NVMe's in my computer, and I don't think maybe when direct storage comes out, which
Mm-hmm.
is a new story I didn't add to here, but when direct storage comes out, maybe you notice a difference. And you get with the 512, you get anti-glare etched glass.
Which does sound cool.
Yeah, but the performance of the games is all the same. All the demos they showed off, the games were all running off SD cards when the media got their hands on it.
Oh, cool.
Nothing was running off of internal storage. It's just to demonstrate, the worst case scenario.
Mm-hmm.
But
we should also say it was $400, $530, and then $650.
$650, yeah, and crazy price point that they hit that 400.
Yeah, no, I was shocked about that because it's like right around what the Switch is.
Yeah, $50 more.
Now it doesn't come. There is a dock, but it doesn't come with the dock, from what I understand.
So they announced that they will have a dock. They have no information on it, no pricing on it, but they have also said that any $20 USB-C dock off of Amazon will work, basically.
Interesting.
So that's what they were using to demonstrate the device. A regular old USB-C dock with HDMI and USB ports. That'll work just fine.
That's awesome. That's actually really good to know. I would even probably buy one of those. I would hope that they would make maybe even a high-end dock that adds maybe performance boost.
Maybe, I think it'll be similar to the Switch where they have like an extra, maybe not the Switch, but maybe an extra fan in it that just keeps it cooler, which will then in turn increase the performance, but not really.
Oh, right.
Because, keeping the chips cooler means they run better. And they throttle themselves down when they get warmer. So keeping them cooler, in turn, gives you a performance boost.
And then probably an Ethernet cable input.
Yeah, all that good stuff. So we can go over the device specs a little bit. It's
go ahead.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's got what size of screen is a 7-inch LCD screen, same size as the Switch.
OLED.
It is not an OLED, it's an LCD screen.
No, I'm saying it's the same as the Switch OLED.
It's a Switch OLED, yes.
Because the regular Switch is smaller.
Yeah, same size LCD screen, 1280 by 800, which is a weird resolution. It's a 720p screen, but it's not the exact 720p resolution. So things are going to look a little odd. It's a 60 hertz screen too. So no 120 hertz screen. So inside you got, for the nerds out there, you got the Zen 2 architecture chip, which is last generation's AMD Zen processors, awesome processors. They're what powers the next gen consoles. It's a quad core processor. It'll run between 2.4 3.5 gigahertz, and it's got an RDNA 2 graphics engine. So, mumble jumble short, this is about equivalent in power to a PS4 and an Xbox One,
which is amazing.
All said and done, which is insane in your hand.
Which is not what Switch was able to pull off.
No, Switch isn't even measured in that aspect. So there is some rumors that substantiated rumors that all the Steam Decks have an open NVMe slot in them. So even if you opt for the 64 gig version, if you have an NVMe drive, you might be able to hook up your own.
Oh, that's interesting. That's actually very interesting.
Yeah, so it runs at Steam OS, which has been around for a while, since the Steam Machine days.
Though they did say that they don't plan on limiting it to anything, right? Like they said it's a Windows machine.
You can install Windows on it if you like, but Steam OS comes by default. And if you want to do like the quick zoom features and any of the custom UI stuff, you have to use the Steam OS. It runs Windows games with their emulation software called Proton. So it's a Linux-based system, but they can run Windows games that aren't specifically designed for Linux, using their middleware kind of device.
Do you think there'll be any integration there with like Microsoft at some point, where beyond like having to add Windows, like you can play like Game Pass or something on there?
So hypothetically, you should be able to do it through the browser, because it's a Linux machine, and the Games Pass integration for PC is through the browser right now too. If you want to play, like my buddy Brandon was playing Sea of Thieves, Game Pass, he needs to use the browser to do it on a computer with a controller. The app doesn't do it yet. But hypothetically, you could you could run Windows off this thing, install Game Pass, and make it into an portable Xbox. This is going to be crazy for emulation. Do you want to talk about the form factor? It's a little odd.
Yeah, go ahead.
We're still waking up.
A little bit.
So everything's in line. So you have the D-pad, the joysticks, and the face buttons are all in a straight line, horizontal line.
Right. It's not like the Switch.
Right. It's not like any other controller.
Which I like.
Then below the two joysticks, which are full-size joysticks. They're not like Switch joysticks. They're not mobile joysticks. They are full-size controller joysticks, which is important.
Probably why they need a carrying case.
Yes. You have the two touchpads, which are from the Steam controller technology, which they use.
Have you used that before?
I have not.
Okay.
But I heard good things.
Yeah.
So they're going to be doing things like emulating mouse input, keyboard input. Apparently, you can type pretty fast with this thing. I don't know. And then you have 4 bumpers on the back that are programmable, similar to the Xbox Elite controller. So, I mean, all the inputs you could ever ask for. Joysticks, accelerometer, it's got all the stuff, the Bluetooth, the Wi-Fi AC.
They definitely designed it for people who have a hard time leaving their gaming PC behind.
Yeah. And
it
is a gaming PC.
Yeah.
It's hard to equate it to an exact like GPU or anything, but it's around the equivalent of like a 1050, 1060.
Yeah.
In GPU power, but you're only playing at 720p, so like
shouldn't be much of an issue.
Yeah, I mean it's awesome, and then you're not even counting the streaming capability, so you can stream from your gaming PC if you want, or stream from xCloud or Game Pass, whatever it's called.
Mm-hmm.
A really great move by Steam.
Yeah, and considering the fact that I think Switch is still #1 in sales. I think it's still selling like crazy.
It is. They're selling out of Switches, but for $50 more, look at what you're getting.
I had a chance to pre-order the OLED. I was at GameStop picking up Skyward Sword, and she asked me if I wanted to pre-order. And initially, I was like all about pre-ordering the OLED anyway. I'm like, but now I'm kind of like, well, why? I'm getting this thing.
Yeah.
I was like, I can just play Zelda on the Switch, and the current one I have. There's no real reason to upgrade.
I mean, this will easily play Sea of Thieves, and that's been our game as of late.
Oh my God. You just got me so excited.
Without streaming, it'll play it natively.
Is it supposed to be December release date? Is that what they were saying?
So if you got in the first wave, it'll be in December. If you go to,
which we did, I believe.
Well, if you go to the Steam page I just sent you, and you look under your cancel reservation button, it'll tell you like when yours is shipping. Mine is December of this year. But new orders are going to be in Q2 of 2022 if you try and pre-order right now.
Yeah, mine says Q1
of 2022.
Yep.
Under your cancel button.
Yeah.
All right, so you got in a little bit later, but
okay. Well, I did see that the pre-orders are even on eBay right now, and they're going for double.
Crazy scalper prices. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is a shame.
This is a lot of tech in this thing. This is for a time where we're having major shortages of silicon and screens and all these components. I mean,
surprising,
this is
right?
Ballsy move.
I was thinking that.
I just noticed they put the USB-C port on top, which is one of Switch's biggest fucking blunders.
Yes.
Is putting the USB-C port on the bottom so you can't charge and sit it on the table at the same time.
So how's the dock going to work then?
You turn it upside down.
Oh, yeah.
You're docking it. What does it matter?
That's such a great point. Wow, that's actually so smart. Because if you think about it, the Switch itself, there's really no point for it to be face down.
Unless you're not in the dock because it's covered up.
Right, so they cover it anyway.
Yeah,
and I think the mock-ups I saw of the other dock was that it's not even covered up, if that's even the case.
Of the Steam Deck dock?
Yeah.
I mean, there's been like mock-ups, but you're right. It's just slide in, but it doesn't make any sense since the USB-C port's on the top. So the mock-up doesn't really make any sense.
That's why
from what I'm looking at. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what it kind of reminds me of? A Game Gear. Like
dude,
the look
it looks exactly like a Game Gear. It's like a Sega Nomad. You ever remember the Sega Nomad?
Yeah.
The Nomad was the Genesis in a portable device. And it lasted like an hour on batteries, and it took like 14 AA batteries.
They did say this goes from 2 to 8 hours depending on the game that you play.
It'll go 2 hours.
most likely. Depending on, I mean, assuming you're not, maybe I guess if you play some retro games, it probably lasts 8 hours or whatever.
Dude, the emulation, the retro scene on this thing is gonna be crazy. You can get the retro emulators in Steam. They're downloadable in Steam. All the retro emulators are downloadable. You just got to get the ROMs.
I was thinking about that actually, how many different games I'll be able to play. The problem is a lot of my library is spread out through like all the other apps, you know?
Put them on there. You can put GOG on there. You can put all kinds of stuff, but like.
Oh, you will be able to?
I think GOG has a Linux client.
Okay. Because then I have EA Origin, there's Blizzard.
Yeah, it would depend. Or you can start Windows on there. I'll probably put Windows on it and use it as like a work device / gaming machine, because you can plug it into a keyboard and monitor, and all of a sudden you have a PC.
That's what I would like to do too. Because then the Epic Store, which by the way, I do have a I guess not really a quote, but
I mean,
Tim Sweeney, CEO of Epic, he was like, "This is an amazing move." I mean, it's extremely smart. Even if they take a small chunk of Nintendo's hardware sales, that's a humongous win.
Yeah, so Tim Sweeney said, amazing move by Valve, a handheld PC console hybrid running SteamOS fork of Linux, and it's an open platform where users are free to install software they're choosing, including Windows and other stores. So of course he likes it, because you can throw the Epic Game Store on there.
Yep.
You can throw Windows on there. I mean, they're not locking this down. They're making this easy to hack.
It's going to sell like crazy. I
can't believe they're doing it. So why do you think they're doing this? They can't be making money on the hardware because they're selling it for $300 or $400. They already make 30% on every game in the universe.
That's a good question. Why?
This isn't going to drive PC game sales. I guarantee you that this is selling 80% to PC gamers that already have gaming PCs.
Do you think this is? Well, yeah, because they're not locking it down, so it's not like they're forcing people to use Steam.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, I'm happy they're doing it. But Valve usually doesn't do shit like this.
Yeah. Well, maybe they just built something cool and they're like, "Yo, we got to get this to market." You know, because like a lot of times you have like skunks work teams like within these companies.
They do that.
Maybe somebody just built it.
Yeah, they have like the 10% thing like Google does, where you have 10% of your time you can do whatever.
And they just built it, and they're kind of just like, this is too cool not to release.
And if they're even making like $50 per console, they're gonna make a fuck ton of money. But I don't think they could possibly be making $50 per console right now.
Do you think there's anything where they think like, hey, we can work with third parties that'll eventually give us a cut of their revenue, or maybe we'll pull in more, like we'll pull in games that go on the Switch that we'll pull them on the Steam type of thing?
Maybe. I'm hoping this is more like a Steam Machines type deal, where they're putting out the NVIDIA reference cards. Like the NVIDIA puts out their graphics cards, and then like MSI and EVGA, and they all make their own graphics cards based on that design. So I'm hoping they're saying like, here's our design. Like, you all should make like Steam Decks of your own, sell them for less money.
That's a great point too. It's a disruptor in the industry.
It's crazy. And
I don't think most people are even aware of, because this is only the first iteration. Like if they make, like you said, if they make other iterations of it down the line, and all of a sudden they make it like sexier or more powerful.
And you know, they did exactly what they were hoping to do. Is you were in GameStop or Best Buy and you were going to pre-order the Switch OLED, and they announced this on the same day that pre-orders for the OLED came out,
and it stopped.
So they stopped. I bet they stopped a lot of people from pre-ordering that Switch OLED, because
this has a larger ecosystem.
It's unlimited. It's just the only thing you don't get is Nintendo games. You get everything else.
And I only play Zelda. Like that's my sell for Nintendo.
Well, Zelda, yeah. Any third-party game in the world is going to play better on this than on Switch. Any third-party game.
Yeah, of course. It's more powerful.
So, yeah.
It's pretty awesome. I mean, I think like right now I'm on vacation. It's something I'm like, man, I wish I had that thing with me right now. Like I have my Switch, and I'd much rather have the Steam Deck.
Oh my God. Yeah, Phil Spencer tweeted out, this looks really great. Congrats to the team at Valve on getting so many of us excited to be able to take our games with us wherever we decide to play. Phil's happy. He can put Game Pass on that. He wants Game Pass on everything.
And they're open to it already. Mm-hmm. It's not like they have to work some kind of partnership with it.
Nope.
If anything, Xbox can just be like, oh yeah, we're updating Windows 11 to work with Steam Deck.
Or go to this website.
Yeah. They had our
in the
website. Here's
store.
an app. I wonder if
Yeah.
do you think they'll? I guess like you said, they'll just create an app through
They could create a
Steam
Linux app.
OS.
If this thing gets popular, they'll just create a Steam OS.
Right.
It doesn't have to be Steam OS, just a Linux
Oh, okay.
client.
And that's it.
Yeah.
God, I'm excited to get my hand up. So you're gonna get it first, which is good because I would say you're probably more likely to use it than I am.
I don't
Initially.
know. I don't know what I'm going to use this for because I have a gaming PC, but
That's
I'm
my
going to find.
too.
I will find a way to use it.
I have every console, and I don't even. I work from home. I don't even leave my house. I just couldn't help myself.
Dude, if I got caught using one of these at work, it would not be a good thing. So I don't know what I would. I don't know when I'm going to use it, but I'll figure it out because I'm going to use it.
Yeah, I was going to say caught using it in front of your wife too, probably.
Well, yeah, maybe if we're putting the kid to bed, it'll be like, hey, babe, it's family time.
On the couch.
I'm with you.
You're like hugging her, and on the other side, you're playing.
And I'm like, Sloop Boys. It's the Sloop Boys.
That's a reference. All right, we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to the Sloop Boys. Don't worry.
All right, so yeah, check that out. Definitely pre-order. If you guys are listening to this and you're interested, pre-order it. It's $5 to pre-order.
Yeah, you have to put $5 down, and then if you cancel your pre-order, you get it in Steam credit back. So,
and even then, I mean, I'm not telling people to resell it or anything, but at the very least, you're going to get your money back if you don't want it in the end.
Yeah, don't scalp
if you buy
this.
Yeah, don't scalp it. But if you want to sell it to a friend, even if it's not something you want to use, like it's not a device.
Yeah.
It's not a device that's going to be devalued quickly after it goes out, just like all the other consoles. So it's definitely worth the purchase.
Mm-hmm.
And the game, I believe it's being coined the Gabe Boy. Is that what you said?
Gabe Boy.
That Gabe Boy.
Gabe Boy.
I want to make sure I say that clearly.
Gabe Boy.
Yeah, for Gabe Newell. But yeah, pretty cool news. That's I think that's an underlying disruptor that we'll probably hear more about as Christmas comes out, and then all of a sudden people will be like, "Wait, what's this thing?" Because they had some failed hardware so far, and the HTC Vive was a big hit, but what's it called? What was I even own one. What was it called? The streaming device that they made.
Steam Link.
The Steam Link, yeah. I bought one of those and I never used it once. But I bought it for $20. So
it's worth it.
Yeah. I never used it. All right. Let's move forward to the next piece of news. This is also interesting. I don't know how relevant it is to us yet, but we'll see because there's not a lot of detail on it. But Netflix announces that they're going to do gaming in 2022. And this is stream gaming. The outlet says that video games will appear on the new genre as a new genre on the platform, similar to documentaries and stand-up specials. On an earnings call today, Chief Product Officer Greg Peters said, we don't have to think about ads. We don't have to think about in-game purchases or other monetization. We don't have to think about the title purchase. We can just be laser focused on creating the most entertaining game experiences that we can. Bloomberg didn't get into the specifics, but reported Netflix doesn't plan on charging extra for access to the games. That is very interesting. As far as it's obviously going to be stream gaming. What kind of titles they'll have available? That's where I'm like a little skeptical.
Like, where are they getting these games from?
Yeah. Well, what do you think?
Are they going to be creating their own? I mean, here's the thing. I mean, yeah. What games are going to be available? What platforms are you going to be able to play on? You're not going to be able to play on everything because you can get Netflix on every device. Like some Samsung smart fridges have Netflix. So it's like, I'm sure there'll be some specs. Do you need a controller? Is it remote control driven stuff? Like, is it actual games? Like, it's kind of, or is it more of like those experimental things they did on Netflix where it was like choose your own adventure almost? Yeah, we don't know anything about this right now, but they're right. They don't have to worry about that because like Game Pass, they charge a subscription fee. They're not beholden to sales. They get their money no matter what.
Well, let's take a step back here. What if, like, we're assuming that it's going to be a big library. What if they just start off with like Fortnite?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see the benefit to that because you can play Fortnite on your phones. So I know you didn't mean Fortnite.
No. That's a great point.
But like,
I was just thinking about like a big name game that like.
Yeah, I mean, let's pick any big name game that you can't play on your phone. Call of Duty
Call of
or
Duty,
whatever.
sure.
Um,
They
yeah, I
have a
mean,
Call of Duty for your phone, but it's not the same game.
it's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I played it. It actually is pretty good.
I don't know. It's all going to depend on whether they try and make their own games with whatever studio or they
What if they partner
do.
with like EA and they do like FIFA?
Yeah, I mean, that would be interesting. The problem is I don't,
Yeah, well,
I
but
need to
you're
know
right.
more.
Like, what's the controller? Like, how?
Yeah, you're going to have to
What
buy a controller. You're going to have to buy an Xbox controller. If you're buying an Xbox controller, why aren't you just using Game Pass?
are they gonna have a Netflix controller?
I doubt it.
Is it
Like,
gonna?
what kind of hot trash is that going to be?
Yeah, I feel like their best bet would be compatible if they can be compatible with all controllers. Like, there's Netflix
Right.
on. Wait, is there Netflix on Steam or on Steam on the Switch?
No,
No, there isn't.
there's
Right?
Hulu.
There's
That's it.
Hulu. Yeah, it's interesting. I got to hear more about this, but it could be
Yeah,
a
I mean,
disruptor in some kind of way. But
we'll probably get an announcement this year for a 2022 release, maybe Video Game Awards.
I mean, the nice thing is that a lot of people already pay for Netflix. Like I pay for Netflix, so other people use it.
Yeah.
But like I don't watch any Netflix anymore. But if I have it, and maybe there's a game on there I want to play potentially, but I still like. Are we gonna use it? Like, would you use it?
I would have no need for this.
No.
But I'm probably not their target audience.
I mean, what if you stream it on PC? What if the PC game market is the audience and they're just streaming through a web
it's
browser?
going to depend on the games.
App?
I mean, what makes it better than Game Pass, or what makes it better than NVIDIA GeForce Now, or
you
Stadia?
Pay for Netflix, right?
What's
You
that?
have a Netflix account, right?
I do.
So that's
yeah.
Everybody's got a Netflix account.
Yeah, I guess it's going to depend on the library and the tech.
I have a feeling the library is going to be sad. It's like when Apple said that they were going gaming, which is why they do their arcade. Yeah. Now, Amazon doing this would make more sense to me because at least they have a gaming studio.
Well, they do have that. They have streaming. They have Amazon Luna, but nobody uses it.
Oh, dude, I forgot.
I know.
I have an account for it too.
Dude, I loaded it up once and it was like, okay, I guess
they do give me free games though. I have the Prime gaming thing.
The Switch Prime, right?
Yeah, they gave you a bunch of free games. A few of them are actually notable. But like the ukulele they gave for free, and they gave away Telltale Batman, little things like that.
Yeah.
But all right, let's move on from Netflix. Well, not enough to really find out.
Yeah, not enough information yet.
Okay. Next piece, Tom Clancy X Defiant announced. This was leaked a few months ago. This is the free-to-play game that combines aspects of the Tom Clancy franchises. Appears to have first-person shooting. There's a trailer that's out as well. From Breakpoint, Wildlands, mixed in the movements of the Division. Seems to be a combination of everything. And I said something about a punk aspect to it, which
they said that.
Yeah,
it was a really awkward moment in the trailer.
It's horrible. I was watching. I was like, what the hell is the play? It's like they were trying to be cool.
Do you remember like the he's a Mac and I'm a PC commercials from like the 2000s? That's exactly what it was like.
It had that tone.
Dude, it was so cringy. And they like panned back and you saw both people and one was dressed in like what old people think punk rockers look like, and one was dressed in like business attire.
What does that have anything to do with Tom?
I have no idea.
It's already badass. Like, what do you need to like add?
I don't know.
Like, is really Tom weird. Clancy boring? Like, didn't get it at all.
This does like absolutely nothing for me in this game.
No.
It seems to be all multiplayer.
Yep.
This was the tease of the Splinter Cell stuff with the Echelon, and one aspect of it is the Splinter Cell people. And then you've got the Ghost Recon, Breakpoint, Wildlands people, and then you've got the Division.
Yeah.
And it really does when you watch it seem like they took aspects from all three series to combine into one.
Which I guess is interesting.
But
it's like they have a universe, but
it's all multiplayer. Like, I just don't care.
I don't care either, dude.
It
seems like an attempt to make money more than it is an attempt to make something cool.
Yeah, it's an attempt at capitalizing on the Apex and
Call
of Duty Warfare as the world.
Did you hear anything about it that makes it more unique? Like, is it maybe stealth focused or something?
Doesn't seem like it. There's a lot of shit. They're like realistic gunplay, and they're
Yeah,
like
that's all
this
I
guy's
saw.
running around like shooting a submachine gun. I'm like, that's not realistic gunplay. I'm like, yes, it's video game gunplay, but if
It's
you're
punk
saying
rock,
realistic,
Ben.
yeah,
Punk
dude,
rock.
realistic gunplay is like playing in VR Onward, where like
Yeah.
you shoot the gun and if you're holding it with one hand, it flies out of your fucking hand. Like that's realistic gunplay, not sliding under an invisible fence and shooting a submachine gun.
I feel like they really missed the mark with this one. I think this one's gonna come and go. You know what I mean?
Maybe if it didn't, I don't know.
There's like
I,
nothing. There's nothing about it that even intrigues me.
they shouldn't have announced it until they had it ready to launch. Be like, you can play today, and then maybe get it in people's hands.
That's a great
Because now
point.
you have these shit podcasts like ours that are just
Gonna shit on it
talk,
without knowing
yeah,
anything
just
about it.
shitting on it without playing it. It's just like I don't know.
I feel like. Do you think it's a mistake that it's a first-person shooter, considering most of the games they are leveraging or not?
I don't know whether it was supposed to be always or not, but you do have the rumored Division Heartland, whatever
Yeah.
it's called, free to play coming out. So
Just
maybe they didn't
like,
want to.
why are they even doing that?
Yeah,
If in combination with this,
wish I had an answer for you.
well, I guess Division's not gonna live on anymore, right? Like they're probably going free to play regardless,
I would assume that you won't see a Division 3.
which is weird because didn't it sell well?
It did, but they
I
probably
guess
aren't making any
Ubisoft
money
is
off
doing
of
the
it.
same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's just not that interesting, and I'd say I'd say they almost have like a better. They'd be better off like announcing a Splinter Cell game at this point.
Dude, I don't understand what they're doing. Give us some fucking
Even,
Sam Fisher.
even if Splinter Cell was like they did like an 8-hour campaign of Sam Fisher, and
Yeah.
then they did an online element of it. You know what I mean? That maybe was free to play and that had some like stealth features. Maybe played a little bit like The Last of Us online mode. You know?
So they announced a Splinter Cell Oculus game 2 years ago, and they haven't shown anything since.
Yeah, because
Not even a mention of it.
they're
So
probably gonna
like,
tank it.
yeah, you're not telling us anything Splinter Cell. Like, come, everyone's yelling about Splinter Cell.
It it's a cool property and people are dying for it. So it's kind
give
of
us
like
the Michael Ironside, man.
it's funny because it kind of reminds you of the next game we're gonna go into, Metroid, where people are like screaming for something and like not getting it for years.
Yeah,
You know, it's like they're
but
leaving money on the table.
they're definitely leaving money on the table with Splinter Cell. I mean, that's a universally loved franchise.
Yeah.
Blacklist, I loved Blacklist. I know it didn't hit like a lot of people, but that's one of my favorites. And that and Chaos Theory are my two favorites. I loved Blacklist.
Mm.
So I don't know. I think they're just leaving this out to die. And Michael Ironside ain't getting any younger. So you got if you want to keep the same actor, unless you're going to reboot the game.
Yeah. And
All right.
I don't know. All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's let that story die too, because I don't think either one of us are going to play that game.
No.
Maybe that'll be the game on Netflix.
Well, I'll cancel Netflix.
All right. Let's move on to the next game.
Darby, don't bite your nails.
I guess this is a pretty cool rumor, or I guess not rumor, but this is a pretty cool story. I guess maybe slightly frustrating, but cool. Metroid Prime Trilogy for the Switch is done, and Nintendo is holding it. Jeff Grubb quotes, "The game is done, and Nintendo is holding it." Grubb said on Giant Bomb Show, "I think Metroid Prime Trilogy is done, and whether or not Nintendo releases it now or later depends on other factors. I think a big problem for Nintendo for quite some time during the pandemic was QA. I think Nintendo was focusing its quality assurance resources on one or two big projects at the time, and that meant that some games that were basically finished were sitting on the side while they had their lockdown, a secure QA process focused more on one or two more important games." Grubb said. "Japan is still dealing with these issues, so I still don't think that those processes are going to open up anytime soon." He added, "The other factor for Metroid Prime Trilogy is that is definitely going to be a marketing beat for Metroid Prime 4, almost certainly. So right now we're getting Metroid Metroid Dread this year, and then I would imagine that Metroid Prime Trilogy is something they'll release close to the release of Metroid Prime 4, whenever that is. I'd say, first of all, it's awesome that they're doing this. Sucks that it's not announced now, but if they can come in when, I guess, Switch OLED is kind of coming out and maybe hits the market, I think this is a great supplement in between, especially for somebody like yourself, Ben, who's really dying for Metroid Prime 4. How do you feel about this?
This is like the worst kept secret in gaming. This is worse than the Dead Space reboot. This is worse than Xbox Scorpio. I mean, so much stuff has been leaked, and this has been for years. I think this game's been done for a year and a half. Imran Khan, one of the kind of funny guys, in 2019 had a source that told him the game was done.
Mm-hmm.
So, for that trilogy. So, I don't know why they're not releasing it. I mean, probably because they know it's going to sell 2 million copies. So they're just waiting till they have nothing. I thought this year would be that time because you have a game that's already done and you have a pandemic. When you can't develop new stuff, just release what you have in the tank. But still nothing, I guess. And what Jeff Grubb's saying here is, I think, holds true, is they're waiting till it's closer to Metroid Prime 4 because they want to get people hyped. And that tells me that Metroid Prime 4 is nowhere near being done.
Yeah. It's definitely not. And so that means probably, well, say generously 2 years, right? Because if Zelda's not out and they're planning on 2022, that Metroid Prime Trilogy doesn't compete with Zelda, but Metroid Prime 4 is a big release for them. So
yeah, I don't think
2023.
I don't think you necessarily need to avoid each other. I mean, they released
By
Mario
6
Odyssey
months.
and Zelda Breath of the Wild in the same couple months, right? In the first 6 months of the Switch.
That's a good point. That's a great
I don't necessarily know you got to avoid that. I mean, Switch people buy games.
Yeah,
the attach rate rivals that of the Vita. Because you remember when Switch first came out, they were selling more copies of Breath of the Wild than Switches were in existence. So people who didn't even have the Switch were buying Breath of the Wild.
In anticipation of getting it. Well, it was also out on Wii U, but nobody owns that.
Yeah. So
except for me.
I don't know. I don't know if they rebooted Metroid Prime 4 and they completely started from scratch, and that's why they're holding this game. But everyone in the games industry says this is done. It's ready to go.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Especially with how upset people are about Metroid Prime. Because, like, Dread is cool, right? But it's a side-scroller. It's the Metroidvania. Yeah. It's not what people have been screaming for. And then they released that, like... Did they even release that? I forget. Like, they had that Metroid 4-person game or whatever that looked terrible. Did they even release that, or did they just cancel it?
There was Metroid Fusion.
Yeah, was that what it was called?
There was one for the DS that you needed, like, a touch screen thing for. I forget what it was called. It was multiplayer. Yeah, it was first person now, just like Metroid Prime.
Okay. Yeah, I remember there's some ugly ass game that they released and everybody was pissed because they were hoping it was Metroid Prime 4, and it was like this third party Metroid game. But I mean, it's cool to know that it's done, but they need to get that shit out. I mean,
yeah, I don't.
2022.
Now's the time.
Yeah. 2022, it should be out.
It has to be, or else they're just wasting money.
Yeah, because Dread is going to be out. Because even if you're building up anticipation for the next one, that game will sell for at least a year.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be one of those things that people will pick up. It's 3 games combined. That might be one for me because I actually didn't even play the original. So, I mean, I guess the hope, though, Ben, is maybe it's not just a re-release, that maybe they're, like, remastering it to some degree. You know, like, they're putting actually work into it. So maybe that's like a big benefit. That's why they want to QA it, but I don't know. All right, let's move into the last story, and this one's a short story. They'll kind of make sense. So Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD is 4th Zelda to reach #1 in the UK box charts. I just wanted to put that on there because it just shows how easily Zelda sells. I mean, like, I'll be honest with you, dude, I bought it. I haven't even played it yet. I slept the entire flight. But the flight was completely empty. There was nobody
Yeah,
on the
just lay
plane.
across seats.
Yeah, so I just slept, and I haven't touched it since. I've just been too busy. But I did think about the fact that if this was Wind Waker, I probably would have played it already. And I
Mm.
get why they did. I get why they did like Skyward Sword, because they're trying to build anticipation for the next Zelda game, and there's obviously some kind of tie-in with Falling from the Sky, but you know, I didn't really feel that. I don't know, like there's something about it is just not exciting me enough to play this game yet. But I will play
Okay.
it. But at some point, I just feel like I might just play Breath of the Wild again, and I just wasted money.
You've been talking about this game for 6 episodes. You
I know,
gotta play it.
I know, I will play it, but I just realized it was kind of just like I don't know, just like I got excited and then like lost momentum all of a sudden. All right, so let's go into what we've been playing. I guess I'll go very short because, like I just said, I've only been playing Final Fantasy VII Remake. I've been playing that before I left, and I love that game. And then we were playing Sea of Thieves, but we'll talk about that. And Skyward Sword
segment for Sea of Thieves every week.
I have not played it at all lately. So, yeah, and Sea of Thieves we'll go into. Do you want to go into what you're playing?
Yeah, other than Sea of Thieves, I cracked out the Oculus Quest for the first time in a long time, and I was playing. I loaded up Half-Life Alyx. I sent you a link to one of the mods that I loaded up. It's called Return to Rapture, and it's a total conversion of the game to BioShock.
You're kidding me.
No,
I didn't know about this.
Yes, it's the full game. You start out from the airplane, you end up at a lighthouse. They have the voiceover of Andrew Ryan. You go down the bathysphere, down to Rapture. You get out. Take a look at the video I sent you.
Oh my god.
You skip around. I mean, it's insane. And they don't have the big daddies added yet, but they are adding them according to the modder. I only played through about 20 minutes of it, but they got the Vita chambers. They've got all the ambiance of Rapture is there.
Holy Jesus!
It's as far as I can tell, it's a super faithful recreation of Rapture.
Which is like a dream come true in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I thought you would like it. So, still going through it. I intend to play it through. Like if you skip to like 12 minutes, which is towards the end of the video, you see how crazy they recreated this level. And it's all in Steam Workshop. So you go into Steam, it's all right there. You just click add. You load up Half-Life and all your mods are there. No special messing with any settings or anything. Wow. It's just loaded up. And it's 8 different maps, and they auto load one another after you complete one. So
that's incredible. Nice tip.
Yeah, so I can't wait to play through it. A ton of mods available for Half-Life Alyx. A ton of mods. I loaded up a game called Crisis Brigade, which I would love to play with you. Crisis Brigade 2. You would love this game too. You remember Time Crisis?
Yeah.
From the arcades? It's Time Crisis basically, except in VR. So you're taken from like section to section, and you shoot all the bad guys. You duck behind cover. You can like crawl on the ground underneath a car and shoot underneath the car. You can like look between a bookcase and shoot between the bookcase. And then once you kill the enemies in one section, you move on to the next.
Is this a mod or just a full game?
No, it's a game. Yeah, full game. Very hard game. Very hard game.
Hard.
Yeah. It's 2-player co-op. A couple levels. You earn points. You can buy power-ups to help you on the next run. You only get 3 lives, so you get hit 3 times, you're dead. It's great game. Great game. Very difficult. I know the developer reluctantly added in difficulty settings. Like he wanted the game to be like just super hard, and people complained enough that he added in difficulty settings. So you can now play it on baby mode. But yeah, great game.
That's awesome. We probably will play that. I actually wish I brought my Oculus. I kept thinking like, oh, bring your Oculus, but I didn't bring it in the end. But I do regret it. I had brought so much tech stuff because I'm like, I'm going to be podcasting from here already. I was like,
Yeah.
I wish I would have brought my Oculus over the Switch now because I haven't even touched it.
Considering you haven't touched it, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't touched it at all. Can you imagine me sitting on the plane with that thing?
Hey, people have done it.
Yeah. Actually, it's not too bad of an idea.
You want to talk Sloop Boys?
Yeah, let's talk about we'll do our game recommendations at the end. So yeah, let's talk about Sea of Thieves. We've still been playing that. We got our buddy Oren involved pretty heavily now. Looks like he's addicted as well.
Mm-hmm.
Been tough to get a 4-man crew, but actually, Ben, what was the level that we were playing in Sea of Thieves that led to the chaos? Like there was like a mission that we went in that level.
Flameheart.
Yeah,
we were doing the Flameheart world
That's
event.
It. Yeah, so we tried to do. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, I saw some YouTubers playing it, which is like, no, I played it. Where on my own, I tried to do it in a sloop, where it's just a bunch of ghost ships and you fight them, and it's a big talking skull in the sky, and he's talking shit to you the whole time, and you're taking out these ghost ships. There's dozens
waves
of them,
waves
of them, and we knew it was going to be tough, so we stopped at a couple islands on the way over, and stocked up on so much stuff.
Too, didn't we?
Just once, but we stocked up as much as we could, and we go into there and we get we destroyed like so quickly. It was embarrassing. And then we decide we spawn and we're like, oh, we're not too far away. We respawn. We're like, we'll go back. We'll try it again, and like it's 11:30. But we'll go back. We don't have much supplies, but we'll see what we can do. So we sail in the middle of it, and we're doing pretty decent. But we start running out of cannonballs. We start running out of everything.
Yeah.
And eventually we die. And I'm in a black screen because I got killed. And we're like saying our goodbyes. We're like, yeah, dude, I'm out. Like, good time, whatever. Next time we'll do this. And we respawn. And we have video of this. And I'm in the middle of the ocean. I turn around and there's a sloop right there, an enemy player. And then there's these two guys on board. They're like, yo, let's 5-man sloop it. It's the Sloop Boys. I'm like, what? They're like, get on board. We're gonna 5-man. I was about to shoot them.
Yeah, I was like, what's going on?
You're like, let's just kill them and take their ship. I'm like, well, it doesn't really work like that because they're gonna respawn. But yeah, so we all jump on the sloop. There's 4 of us because
for those who are not aware, that's the smallest ship that you can have, which is usually manned by 1 to 2 people.
So Oren doesn't spawn with us. Oren respawns back at the ship, like really far away.
Yeah.
So we're talking to her. We must have sounded crazy because we were just like talking to them in proximity chat, and then you and us in party chat. And they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna do Flameheart." Like, and I'm like, "All right, let's do this." It's midnight at this point. I gotta work at 5 a.m, but I'm like, "All right, we can't leave now." So we can't even get words out because we're both laughing so much. And Oren's like, what the fuck is going on?
Like,
and we're
yelling
like,
at us.
Yeah, he's like, you guys have to use words. And we're like, just get back here. Bring the ship back.
Yeah, like bring the ship to us.
Bring the ship back because we need it. So then we go and we start doing Flameheart. And we're doing all right. Like, we're helping. We're doing cannons. We're putting fires out. We're bucketing. We're 4-man slooping it.
They had all these supplies too.
Yeah, they had crazy amount of supplies. But because they had it right, they were taking the supplies when they were killing the ships.
Which we didn't even know.
We didn't even know.
Yeah. Which explains how you beat it.
Right.
If you think about it.
Yeah. So Oren shows back up. And then we don't go to help him because we're on the sloop.
Yeah.
And he gets immediately sunk because nobody's there helping him. He's on the brig. He's on the medium ship by himself. So then he's like cursing us out like crazy. You and I are just cracking up because they can't hear him. And all we hear is him cursing us out in the background. So we're like, yo, come back. And then eventually I think both of us, when he comes back the next time, we jump over.
Yeah. And helped him with the ship.
And then we get sunk again. And then you die.
Yes.
But Oren and I get scooped up again by the Sloop Boys. So Sloop Boys scoop us up, and we're going 4-man sleep. Now you're the one that has to come back,
This is like let's just say that this was like 50 minutes,
dude.
like at the point that you're talking about of us
Oh yeah,
fighting and like
yeah. At least
complete chaos.
at least 1 o'clock when you die, when you got
Yeah.
when you respawned,
Yeah.
and then you're like, I'm coming back,
And I'm
We're
like in the same position Oren was in,
Yeah.
and I'm like riding the ship like from
so
a
now
distance
Oren's
coming
the
in.
one laughing his ass off, not getting
Yeah.
words out because of the absurdity of all 4 of us on the sloop.
It's so absurd because you're in such tight quarters and like you're running around each other just fixing the ship, and like
I know.
there's only 2 cannons, so only one person's firing. So
Yeah, there's
it's
2
like,
cannons. You can only fire off. Yeah, and like the mast would go down. We catch the mast. Our steering wheel's getting blown to shit. It's like all patched up with like ghetto ass wood, with holes all over the place. But
these
hey,
2
that's
random dudes.
to the sloop boys, and then yeah, you show up, and then fire like one shot.
Yeah, I have my Han Solo moment where everybody is
we're out getting supplies. Because we
Yeah,
think the fight's still ongoing, and you show up and you fire like 1 cannon.
yeah,
and you kill Flameheart. And you're like, did I just save the day?
Yeah, I'm like, I'm here.
But then but then you didn't keep track of where the treasure was.
Yeah, we lost the treasure.
So we come back and they're all like, "Yo, good job, man. Where's the treasure?" You're like, "I don't fucking know."
I was too busy just killing it.
You're like, "I killed Flameheart," and then they were cool and they're like, "Yeah, let's ally up and we'll split the treasure." And I'm pretty sure you started talking about betraying them and stealing all the treasure at that point.
No, that was only the beginning.
I'll go back.
You wanted to.
I wanted to go to sleep.
Yeah, and I was like, no, because they told us we get 50% of the earnings.
Yeah, but they we were of no help to them. So I'm like, I was like,
their ship would have sunk if it wasn't for us.
I'm like, it's kind of shitty us to take 50% because like they did scoop us up like 4 times.
I don't think it's you take 50%. I think you get the same assets. Like I think you just get it included as a bounty. You know what I mean?
I'm not sure how that works, but
I don't know either.
But yeah, they kept their word. We allied up, and
I don't think they would have beat it without us, Ben. I don't think that sloop would have survived without us.
I think that I don't know. They seem pretty good. They got like crazy sales and shit.
Oh, maybe. But we were patching them up and whatnot pretty quickly.
Yeah, we were like putting fires out and navigating and jumping into the water and getting supplies. And
that was one of the coolest. I didn't even know we could like create alliances like that. It makes you realize like you can get in there and like find other ships to like take on all these big battles, like take down those forts that seem pretty
there's also the downside. I've seen some YouTube videos where like 4 players will ally up and then like just pick on the one person that shows up.
Sorry, my alarm just went off. Yeah, well, hopefully that doesn't happen to us, but the game is very addicting.
Game was great. Yeah, Sloop Boys. Yeah, it was a great time, dude. And I didn't get to bed till 2 that night. Dude, we were logging off at 11:30, and I got to bed at 2.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was
we were talking about going to sleep at 11:30, and then we went back for Flameheart one more time.
It literally went from like, all right, well, it's call it a night, to be like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah, because if you watch my video, which we can post.
It's on YouTube. It's on our YouTube channel. Already,
it's on your YouTube channel. It's unlisted though. But like I respawn and I just see open ocean, and I turn around and then there's just a sloop there. It was right next to where I spawned. I'm like, what?
Fantastic.
And I think you took a shot at them first. I don't know if you shot at them.
Probably. Knowing me, that I probably did.
It was penance for all the shitty things we did in the beginning of that game. Because we attacked a lot of unarmed people.
Yeah, we did.
So let's see at these. We'll be playing more of that. And
I'm upset that I don't have access to it down here. But it is what it is.
Game recommendations.
All right. I'll go first, and then we'll end with you. So I just put on here last minute because I actually forgot. But Warcraft 3, people have not played this game. It's an oldie but a goodie. Frozen Throne was remastered poorly by Blizzard. I do own that version. I don't think it takes away anything from the game. I heard people complain about like the graphics and stuff. I don't think it's that big of a deal. It doesn't look fantastic, but it looks good enough. But the game is still really good. As far as like story-based strategy games, and I've been talking a lot about strategy games. Actually, I was talking to my cousin again about strategy games. And we were talking about Age of Empires and Command and Conquer. He's playing Dota and all this stuff. But it just reminds me how good of a game that is. The story's super deep. The classes are awesome. If you've never played it, it's 100% worth playing. I think they were actually on sale as well. Blizzard was having a sale on their games. So it probably was only like $10 or so.
They don't go on sale very often.
Yeah, exactly. So it's worth picking up, especially because your hero character is like an RPG character in it, and yeah, and that on top of there's just not a lot of fantasy strategy games like that.
Yeah,
that
not
incorporate.
anymore,
yeah, exactly. And I would love for them to do a Warcraft 4. I'm kind of shocked that they haven't.
Excuse me. I'm sure they have something in the works.
Maybe one day, yeah. That would be a day one purchase for me. So, and I think it would sell a few million copies, to be honest with you, just because I think they're shutting down World of Warcraft, though. I think I heard that.
No, that makes them too much money. No way.
Yeah. Okay, so that's wrong. I thought I read something about it the other day when I was.
No way. That would be like that.
That'd be humongous news.
The Associated Press would report on that.
Yeah, you're right, actually, because it's like an entire community of people on there. All right, yeah, Warcraft 3, definitely check it out. Again, I love strategy games, so check out that one. I didn't get to play any Company of Heroes like at all before I left. So, all right, good.
My game, I'm gonna stick with the VR theme since we did a lot of VR this week. This game's called 2MD VR Football. So if you don't like American football, you're not gonna like this game. But it's for Quest, it's for PC VR, standalone or PC. It's like the ultimate football quarterback fantasy. You got your offensive line in front of you, you've got your receivers, and you literally draw your plays. So before you start, you have a chalkboard in front of you with markers, and you tap your receivers and you draw their routes, and you set where you want them to go, and you set up like 8 or 9 different plays that are mapped to your joysticks. And you play through these varying degrees of increasing difficulty with these enemy or these opposing AI teams. And you stand behind center and you're looking at the blitz, and you hike the ball and you run around behind the pocket using the joystick, or running around in real life if you have the space, and throw the ball. And then you can, once you throw the ball, if a receiver catches it, you can, as a new part of the update, take control of that receiver and then run down the field and try and stiff arm and do all that stuff.
Wow.
Really cool game. It's really good for like quick bursts, because you can get in and out of a game in a couple minutes. And it's like the ultimate thing where you can, when you're thinking like as a kid, like, I wonder what would happen if we ran this play. Like, and you watch the old football movies and they draw the X and the O's on the board. You're absolutely you're grabbing your players and you're moving them where you want them, and then you're using a marker and drawing where you want them to run, and then you just hit one button and you're in the game, and that play is on the screen, and you're running it from first person. One problem with it is it's causing me physical pain. I have shoulder problems. I have bursitis in my shoulder, and the act of throwing with no weight attached to that. So I'm not transferring the kinetic energy into a football, for example, that's then going. I'm not throwing a baseball. I'm not like throwing a weight that's transferring all this energy. So I'm just snapping my shoulder. And that energy is not going anywhere. It's going back into my shoulder. And so it is causing me some pain.
That's a great point. I had that. I guess here's another game recommendation. Thrill of the Fight for Oculus. I threw my shoulder out playing that game.
Yeah, because you're not transferring that power anywhere. It's just It's like when you
after like 3 days or something.
You try and kick a soccer ball and you miss, and you fly up into the air and fall because you're not transferring. So I can't play it for too long, and when I do, I have to be very careful about my movements. Somebody who does not have a degenerative shoulder problem, I'm sure wouldn't have as much problems. But awesome game.
You always have a physical ailment, Ben. It's like your knee, your shoulder, your ankle. I remember you played soccer on a broken ankle for like an entire year.
season, not an entire year, an entire soccer season.
Well, yeah.
It was a broken foot. It wasn't the ankle.
Oh, it was the foot. Yeah, it was
the top of the foot was broken. Yeah.
Oh, well, thank God it was just the top.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
still, yeah, great
awesome
game.
recommendation.
It's cheap.
How much is it?
$20, and Oculus is giving $10 credit right now towards any game. So
they just keep sending me stuff. $10 credit, 30% credit.
Awesome game. I've got my money's worth years ago when this game first came out, and they just keep patching it and updating it and updating it and updating it. They've added
low fidelity though, right? It's just like
yes,
yeah.
It's they added more graphics for Oculus 2 and for PC VR. It's not just the stick figures anymore. Now you have different like the harder difficulties are actual players. There's a women's league where the players are like super fast. And then there's like the pro league where the guys are just like jacked and they'll just throw your offensive line to the side. I mean, it's really great. It's really cool.
That is like, I feel like one of the best options for VR is like literally in the pocket. That's the dream.
It's great. Yeah, it's a dream, man. Because I literally will like find myself looking around, like checking the blitz. Yeah. Not that I know what the fuck I'm doing,
but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, man. And when I score a touchdown, I like put my arms up at the crowd and I'm like, yeah, that's right. And there's a fake crowd. It's awesome.
That's very cool.
I probably look really awesome.
Yeah, probably look like an idiot standing there.
2MD VR football. Look it up.
Awesome. All right. Well, we're gonna make this episode short because it's a weird one. We'll see if we'll keep these going while I'm in Israel because I'll be here for another 3 more weeks beyond this. So
yeah,
it'll get interesting. We'll have to find weird times to record.
Yeah, we maybe do it during the day so you're not waking up at 7 a.m. again.
But if we do it during the day, you're like, it has to be during your work hours.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Don't tell your boss. All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Like, subscribe, comment, please share. Again, it helps us out quite a bit. Hopefully, we have more exciting news on the game front. We didn't really talk about many games this time. We really only talked about one game that we weren't even really interested in. But at least cool news on the hardware front and services front. So hopefully there's more news coming forward, though I do suspect maybe there'll be a little bit of a lull because we just had E3 and everything. So yeah, again, like, subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter as well. YWOLOK, Wolok, and Ben. What are you? Ben00 or something like that?
Yeah, Ben00.
Yeah. You can follow us on Twitter as well. I tweet mostly about hockey, but I do a little bit of video game stuff too. And I don't think Ben spends any time on Twitter. So
I retweet.
There you go. He retweets. So you get some good retweeting.
Yeah, I get some retweet action.
All right.
Some Smarties.
Yeah, actually, if you guys want to find us on Xbox too, if anybody does listen to this, I'm Can I Kick It 9. And what are you, Ben?
What am I at?
You're
Silver 385.
Yeah.
Double SILVER 385.
Yeah. If anybody wants to play some Sea of Thieves, we'll be around. Or if you think you can take us down, challenge on.
You can. We're not very good.
That's also true. All right. Thank you again for listening. And remember, always play on gamers.